When Aegon IV Targaryen died, the realm expected his son Daeron to be a mirror of his father, a man shaped by lust, vanity and cruelty. But Daeron was forged from different metal. Born of Queen Nerys, whose faith and purity had made her the realm's sorrowful saint, and raised under the shadow of his father's corruption, Daeron grew into a man of quiet dignity and intellect. He was a dreamer, but not the kind who sought dragons in the clouds. His dreams were of unity, learning, and peace. He was called Daeron the Good, though even his virtues carried thorns. He preferred scholars to knights and diplomacy to battle, traits that earned him the love of the small folk and the distrust of the proud. The nobles whispered that he was too gentle for the Iron Throne, too soft for a realm built on blood. Yet in his calm eyes burned the same conviction that had guided his uncle Viserys II, that wisdom could hold the realm together longer than fear ever could. But Daeron had inherited more than a crown. He had inherited a curse, his father's dying gift. Aegon IV, in an act of spite, had legitimized every one of his bastards before his death. Dozens of men and women, noble and base-born alike, were now Targaryens in name and ambition. Among them stood the most dangerous of all, Daemon Blackfyre, Aegon's first and most beloved bastard, who carried not only the king's blood, but his sword. Blackfyre, the blade of conquest itself. From the first days of his reign, Daeron II Targaryen sought to heal what his father had poisoned. The Unworthy's court of mistresses and flatterers was swept away, replaced by advisors of learning and honor. Gold that had once been wasted on feasts was spent rebuilding roads, repairing keeps, and strengthening the crown's authority. The small folk praised him as the first just king in living memory. His greatest triumph came not through war, but through marriage. By wedding his sister Daenerys Targaryen to Prince Maron Martell, Daeron accomplished what no dragon or sword had ever achieved: the peaceful unification of Dorne with the Seven Kingdoms. The alliance ended nearly a century of bloodshed, earning him the admiration of the Maesters and the hatred of the Marcher Lords, who had built their fortunes raiding Dornish lands. To the old warriors of the Reach and Stormlands, peace with Dorne was treason disguised as diplomacy. Daeron's court reflected his ideals. He welcomed maesters, artists, and foreign envoys, transforming King's Landing into a hub of culture unseen since Jaehaerys the Conciliator. Yet not all hearts could be won by reason. Many lords whispered that the king favored Dornishmen over Westerosi. that the Martells now whispered in his ear. In the taverns and barracks, the murmurs grew darker still. That Daeron was no son of Aegon at all, but a bastard born of Queen Nerys and Sir Aemon the Dragon Knight. Whether that rumour held truth or not, it mattered little. For to those who had grown weary of restraint, Daeron's peace felt like weakness. And in the hearts of his father's legitimized bastards, ambition began to stir. Foremost among those bastards was Daemon Blackfyre. Handsome, tall, and valiant, Daemon possessed every quality that made men follow kings: charisma, skill at arms, and the shadow of a legend. Even as a youth, the realm adored him. The songs called him the Dragon Reborn. When his father Aegon IV had gifted him the ancestral Valyrian steel sword Blackfyre, it was more than a weapon. It was a symbol of kingship. And many believed it was also a sign of inheritance. At first, Daemon served loyally. He led armies for his half-brother, won tournaments and commanded respect across the realm. But envy is a fire that needs little kindling. Lords who resented the king's Dornish ties whispered that Daemon, not Daeron, was the true heir, the son of the king's body, not a bastard of his queen's heart. The Marcher lords, ever hungry for war, flocked to him. They called themselves true dragons and painted their banners black. In the royal court, Daeron saw the storm gathering. He tried to cool the flames through diplomacy, granting lands, honors, and marriages to his half-brothers. To Brynden Rivers, he gave the post of Master of Whisperers. To Aegor Rivers, he granted command of the Golden Company. But jealousy ran deeper than favor. When Daemon married Rohan of Tyrosh and fathered sons of his own, his supporters began to speak openly of bloodlines, honor, and destiny. And in those whispers, rebellion was born. The first Blackfyre rebellion began as a spark in the Reach and blazed into a war that split the realm in two. Daemon Blackfyre declared himself king, unfurling a black dragon banner against the red of his half-brother. "The realm must be ruled by strength," his followers cried, "not by peace bought with foreign brides." Nobles from the Reach, the Stormlands, and the Westerlands rallied to his side, men who still dreamed of conquest and glory. The war that followed was swift, brutal, and bitter. Brothers fought brothers, fathers killed sons. Daemon Blackfyre led his army with valor, his sword, Blackfyre, cutting through foes as if the blade hungered for Targaryen blood. His host outnumbered the loyalists 2-1. Many believed the Iron Throne was already lost. But Daeron was no fool. Though he shunned war, he understood it. He placed his faith in two men, Sir Gawain Corbray, the famed knight of the Kingsguard, and Brynden Rivers, the albino spymaster the realm called Bloodraven. Brynden's intelligence and ruthless cunning turned the tide of war. He foresaw Daemon's moves before they happened, striking supply lines, intercepting messages, and buying loyalty where gold could win it. The final battle came upon the Redgrass Field, where the Black Dragon and the Red met beneath a storm-dark sky. Daemon slew Sir Gawain in single combat, but as he lifted his sword to rally his men, a volley of arrows pierced his heart. The legend says Bloodraven loosed the final shaft himself. Daemon fell, and with him fell his cause. His sons were slain beside him, and his banners burned in the wind. The war was over, but the realm would never be the same. With Daemon's death, two figures rose from the ashes to define a century of strife. Brynden Rivers, the king's half-brother known as Bloodraven, became the king's most powerful and feared servant, the spider who ruled through whispers and shadows. His pale eyes saw through walls and secrets alike, and his network of informants stretched across every keep and court. To some, he was the savior of the realm. To others, a monster who made peace through terror. His rival was Aegon Rivers, called Bittersteel, another of Aegon IV's bastards and Daemon's fiercest supporter. Proud, passionate and vengeful, he fled Westeros after the rebellion, swearing vengeance. In exile, he gathered the surviving Blackfyre loyalists and founded the Golden Company, a sellsword army bound by blood and oath to one purpose: to place a Blackfyre on the Iron Throne. Even in victory, King Daeron II was haunted by the cost. Thousands lay dead, fields burned, and families torn apart. The songs called him the Good, but his reign was a fragile peace built on sorrow. He ruled wisely for another decade, fostering learning and diplomacy, but the wound in House Targaryen never healed. In his later years, Daeron governed from a throne that no longer inspired awe, only weariness. He sought to strengthen ties with Dawn and the free cities, and to secure the realm his father had divided. Yet fate would not grant him rest. In 209 AC, a terrible plague swept through Westeros, the Great Spring Sickness. It claimed tens of thousands, among them Daeron II Targaryen, the Good King. When the bells tolled in King's Landing, the realm mourned not only the man, but the last breath of unity it would ever know. His son, Aerys I, would inherit the throne, a scholar too distracted to rule, while the shadows of rebellion lingered and the Blackfyres waited across the narrow sea. Daeron's reign had begun with peace and ended in blood. Yet in the eyes of history, he remained the Good. For though he could not heal the wounds his father had inflicted, he had tried, and in Westeros, that was miracle enough. In this next episode, the Iron Throne passes to Aerys I Targaryen, a king of books and riddles. As he turns from ruling to reading, the kingdom drifts toward chaos. In the shadows rise three names that will shape the next age: Bloodraven, Bittersteel, and a young prince whose dreams of dragons will end in tragedy. The Blackfyre threat endures, and in the halls of Summerhall, destiny begins to stir.